morning, good evening, everybody. How's everyone? I can see Swayam, I can see James. Hey, James. Hey, Swayam.
Morning, how you doing?
Good, good, good. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And who else can be on video? It's a beautiful morning or a beautiful evening based on where you are. So be on video so we all can see each other. All right, I think people are still joining in. So, yeah, 21 days over, right? Wow. When did we start ForHeal? Yeah, yesterday was day 21, 3 weeks over. So now we are starting week 4. So how is the practices going, everybody? Is there anyone who would quickly want to share how the journey has been so far? The meditations, the nature walks, and this week specifically, it was sun gazing, right? Expressing our gratitude to sun. How was it? Is there anybody who would like to share? How did it go for you, Swam? You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, this is the first time I tried whatever you said last week. I kept the binocular pose and then I did for 3 days, not every single day, but yes, it was a beautiful experience. When I closed my eyes, I was looking at these beautiful colors. I was able to feel the energy. Yeah, it was a beautiful experience for me.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Is there anybody else who would like to share how the journey is going, about the practices, or even if you have any questions?
Hi, Shibu. This is Rashmi here. It's
Yes,
been
yes.
like, yeah, the second successful week. Thank you all for volunteering and initiating this thing. I've been in constant touch with Swayam too. This is super healing and I mean, like a very good way to initiate meditation, a very noble cause. I think it's, yeah, it's definitely a noble cause. Thank you all for doing that and so much gratitude.
Oh, thank you so much, Rashmi. Thank you for coming in and sharing. Absolutely. And as you said, so we are all here to help. We're all here to share our knowledge in whatever way. So thank you so much. It's all your initiative, right? You've been joining, you've been very, very regular, and you've been meditating on a regular basis, which is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Pramod, how are you?
Hey Shibu, how are you? Hello everyone.
Hey.
Um, I'm not very regular, but I'm committing myself to be regular.
Yeah, I think you're regular because I've been seeing you regularly on our meditations, on the daily meditation sessions. Yeah,
I still need to do other activities, so that's what.
which is okay, which is okay. You're doing your part, right?
Yeah,
So-
thank you.
And I don't know if you got a chance to attend any of the Saturday sessions.
Sure.
Yeah, so Saturday is where we start the week with a certain emotion, right? We pick up a blockage and we work on it through the week. So we continue doing our meditations, our practices, which is nature walk or whatever we can, right, through the week. But we pick it up. We start with an immersive Saturday session, which is what we're going to do right now. So in the previous weeks, again, friends, as a quick reminder, I know more people are joining in. As a quick reminder, we had this is week 4, which means we completed 3 weeks. And in the previous weeks, we dealt with the emotion of guilt, which was week 1 was guilt. And the week 2 was about grief, right? The second week was all about grief. And the third week, we dealt with anger, that revenge, anger, those kind of emotions is what we dealt with in week 3. As a reminder, this is a 40-day course, and this is not about fixing anything, as we keep saying in the flyer, right? This is not about fixing. This is about a sacred remembrance. That's what this is about. Simple remembrance through just by connecting to our own self. And any practice which we are doing is all about just that. And week 4, as you would have seen in the flyer, the theme is moving from fear to trust. A very, very beautiful theme. Let's get started. Everybody, please settle in. So we call this story transmission. So anybody who is joining in new, we always start with a beautiful, soulful story. And the way it is being done is, it is more like you'll be watching a movie. More than a movie, you're actually partaking in it. You're experiencing it, which is why we are requesting everybody to settle in and close your eyes. Close your eyes and receive it. It's like you're watching the movie, you're seeing everything as it unfolds. So let's be in that beautiful mode and receive this story. Over to you, Sway.
You, Shibu. Okay, friends, just you don't have to turn on your cameras. Just close your eyes.
Sway, you're on mute.
Okay. Okay, friends, just close your eyes. And imagine yourself that you are in a beautiful forest. And there you found one ancient tree. Just sit under the tree. Keep your back to the trunk and rest. Connect yourself to the roots of the tree. Just listen. As the first rays of dawn peered through the window, Mata felt her daughter Godavari calling to her. The Devi emerged from the river and seated herself beside Mata and said, "You know, Mata, that you must face Ravana and you must face him alone. You are the only one who can awaken in him the love that is buried deep inside him, covered by hurt and pain and by his deceits. You must enter the heart of the Asura kingdom. It will test all of your skills and your will. Only there you can relieve Vasundharama, Mother Earth, of the pain she is suffering. Only in this way you can free us from his demonic rule." The Devi, overcome with sorrow, slipped back into the rushing waves, her heart breaking for Mata, who was soon to be tested in such a difficult manner. The next morning, dark, threatening clouds cast their shadows over the land. The birds were all in flight. It was not the season for rain. This is the third storm we have in 10 days' time. Nature has been thrown in confusion. Mata could not shake off her concern. Sri Ram did his best to cheer her. "Look there, Sita," he said, "a golden deer. I will catch it for you. It will bring you much joy to have the deer as a pet. When Sri Ram did not return, Mata's heart grew heavier. She turned to Lakshmana and said, "You must go and find Ram." Mata retreated into the hut. Her heart knew what was unfolding. This was no accident. The path had been prepared long before, and now it had begun. From the open doorway, she saw him approaching. Ravana, disguised as an ascetic begging for food. As he slowly stepped forth from the hut with a bowl of fruits in hand, she knew she was stepping into the darkness that he inhabited. Mata thought she was ready. But when he grabbed her by the wrist, she cried out in agony. She cried out Ram's name, but at Ravana's touch, the link was broken. She could no longer reach her beloved Ram. She was now in Ravana's field, far from Ram's reach. This was something she could not have known beforehand. Mata passed through a large entranceway in Lanka, the courtyard, and out into an enclosed garden. There, she spotted a large Ashoka tree that seemed to call her. She seated herself beneath the tree and pressed her back against the bark, as if to secure herself in the life of the tree. Sita took a deep drink of water and went into meditation. Her mind began to feel foggy, and she struggled to keep herself alert. Hours passed. Mata struggled to feel Ram's presence. She realized the water she had drunk upon her arrival had been tainted and had clouded her mind. Mata didn't realize the extent of Ravana's mental abilities, how he could create illusions that appeared all too real. She had to face these illusions now, as he attempted to capture her mind and weaken her resistance. But he didn't realize the extent of her capability. The battle of the minds began. Deeper and deeper, Mata sank into the dark. until she was engulfed by swirling black space. She stumbled upon a pile of corpses, half decomposed, faces and limbs partially eaten. "Help us, Mata," they called out. Mata bent down, took one of them, a woman, into her arms. "Let me take this suffering from you, daughter," Sitama said. And as she let go, the corpses turned to dust. Ravana's laughter echoed. Was it an illusion or was it real? She could not tell. That scene disappeared, and before her, she saw the palace in Ayodhya. Ram was seated on the throne with a beautiful woman beside him. He was telling the woman, "Sita is dead. You will now be Maharani of Ayodhya." Mata cried out, "I'm not dead. I'm not dead, Ram. I'm alive. I'm alive." But he did not hear. Mata realized it was a dead world, a world of illusion. Parvati Ma appeared before Sita Ma and guided her. Parvati Ma said, "Until Sri Ram arrives, you must not eat or drink anything from this land. Ravana has tainted all the food and water to trap you in his illusionary worlds. You must remain in meditation most of the time. In your meditation, do not lose consciousness of the outer world. You will be sustained by Amrita, the nectar of immortality. So you can do without drink or food. You must also forfeit sleep for the duration of your stay, so you can ever be on guard." Closing her eyes, Mata slipped back into meditation. Day after day, Ravana came to taunt her. He tried all sorts of illusionary tricks. When his frustration and anger grew great, he tried to harm her physically, but he was always rebuffed. There was a mysterious protective energy around Mata that would not allow any weapon to come in contact with her body. Every day since Mata's departure from Ayodhya, women came to the river to chant and pray for Mata's safety. And that prayers created the protective layer around Mata. Sage Anasuya guided Sitama. You must bring before his mind all the damage he has done, the suffering he has incurred. Enter his dream world, Sita. This is the only way to reach him now. He has closed off every other access point. Unlike you, he is unable to do without sleep. And so you can reach him when he is asleep and his guard is down. Mata spent the day meditating on sage Anasuya's words. That night, she entered Ravana's dreams, not as herself, but as one of the celestial women he had abused. Voices echoed everywhere, calling for justice. Night after night, the woman Ravana had violated came to claim justice. Ravana was now afraid to sleep. He is haunted by dreams and refuses to even lie down. But his lack of rest is unnerving him and affecting his mind. Sita spoke to Ravana. The dreams you see are but a reflection of what you have become. It is not too late to change, Ravana. There is no deed that is beyond forgiveness. That night, despite his best efforts to stay awake, Ravana drifted to sleep. Instead of being haunted by the past, he found himself standing before Narayani. She said, "Your deeds have taken you far away from Vaikunta, so far that it will be difficult for you to find your way back. But it is not beyond your means. If you allow the remembrance of who you are and where you came from, let go of your anger, your lust, your jealousy, your thirst for power and revenge. Uproot those seeds that have dug themselves deep into your being. And let love flow again in your heart as it once did." Ravana awoke with a start. Sage Lopamudra appeared before Mata and said, "You have done your part, Sita. The rest belongs to Sri Ram." And with that, she returned once more to her breath. Steady, calm, trusting.
Thank you so much, Swam. So let's all reflect on this story and see what is stirring in us. As you can see, Sitama willingly went into the unknown. She knew there is darkness. She also had the fear. She also got the fear. The link was broken. when Ravana touched her. But she went with it. Happily went into the unknown. She just went into the unknown. She went beyond the fear. She went beyond the illusion. And she was ready to be vulnerable. Because the state of unknown is also a state where we'll be vulnerable. Why vulnerable? Because our mind doesn't have a route map. We don't know what we are stepping into. We just step into. How do we do that? Surrender and trust. So you can see Sita Ma constantly was with the breath, was in meditation. She used as an anchor and fought off all the seemingly illusions, the fear, all of that. Such a beautiful, beautiful story. So friends, now is the time to open up and share. So in our life also, if you see, there would have been many, many occasions where our mind would come and tell us, don't do this, don't do that. It's not right. But there is an inner feeling where you know this is the right thing to do. Could have been speaking up for the first time, getting onto the stage for the first time, having the courage to speak up. Could be many, many different things. But remember the first time you did it. Weren't you vulnerable? Because you didn't know what you're stepping into. But you knew you had to do it. You went beyond the fear. Beyond the fear. And that is the whole thing. This fear to trust. The energy of fear just becomes the trust. It's an opportunity. All of these seeming situations are just an opportunity. So friends, let's open up and speak about that. The times when we went beyond the fear, when we trusted and did what had to be done. Maybe you can remove the wallpaper or the poster. Let's see everybody. So who would want to go? Go ahead, Rashmi.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can hear you.
My video setup is not that great, so
It's
in
okay.
case.
Okay.
So for me, while I was listening to the story, it's a different, slightly different path. There was some incident which happened, and somebody lied to me right on my face. Somebody lied to me, and the trust with that person, right? The one in every relationship, there is an underlying trust in that relationship. Though there is love, affection, everything in relationships, we have a underlying trust which is there. So that moment, I was very hurt when I found out that this person was lying to me. I was very hurt, and I was hurt more because that person was doing it for another friend of mine. It was very hurtful, and from that moment, I was in a very dark space. All that what in that story they say, right? The dark zone and emptiness, not knowing what is happening. All those things I was actually feeling there. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to trust. Uh, I wanted to have the trust in the relationship. So I wanted to still build it back, and I didn't know how to build it. And slowly that dark zone turned into a fear in me. till then, for me, fear was maybe a roller coaster ride or height, swimming, which I don't know. So those were fear in me, and this was totally different fear. Like, am I going to lose these people in my life? And that was very bad, like very, very hurtful, and it was very difficult for me. And I didn't know how to come out of it. And all the spiritual knowledge we hear daily and we talk, this is a test, this is an experience, you have to learn. Nothing worked for me. Like, it was just theory for me. Nothing worked. It all stood away from me, and I was like just pure human being facing that situation. And slowly I started meditating. I was thinking, like, why am I doing all this meditation if I have to go through all these things? So again, there was no other way I have to come out. So I started meditating more. And for first time, I started actually seeking answers. I never asked for anything during my meditation. That was the first time I started asking, why is it happening to me? And why these situations? Like, why am I facing these situations? Initially, I didn't get any answers. So I was thinking, what is wrong? But I kept going, kept doing it. But slowly I started realizing two things. One is I'm very emotionally attached. If I'm in a relationship, I'm very attached to the people, and that attachment gets hurt. Like, that attachment also brings sadness to me. When something happens in it, that attachment also causes me pain. So I was feeling uh, feeling that I'm always attached. Like, I'm seeing myself in everything. I'm taking everything personally, and everything is connected to me. That kind of attachment was there. Like, everything is happening because I am there. That kind of thing. I don't know how to explain, but that attachment was one thing which I saw that it is causing me problem. Another one was expectation. I am very honest in my way of relationships, the way I deal with people. I'm very open, very, very honest. And I was expecting the same back to me. Like, the other person also should be doing the same to me. And that was one thing which I saw, that when this whole thing happened, that is one thing I saw, like, you shouldn't expect anything from others. You do what you want, but don't expect anything back from others. They may not be seeing me in the same way I'm seeing them. So slowly, I mean, I'm still working in progress. I take one step forward. My mind plays trick on me. Like, is this happening again? Will I be facing these situations again? Like, now I know how painful it is. I'm scared of that pain. So that mind keeps playing tricks on me. I know it is a mind playing tricks on me, but sometimes you take one step forward and you fall back 10 steps back. Again, through meditation and all these things, I go 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. So it's a process. So what I hear you're talking about, moving from fear to trust. For me, it was like the trust was broken and I was pushed into that zone of fear. And now I'm slowly building that trust, that I'm trusting the process, and I hope I will gain that trust back one day. That's all I wanted to share.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing this, Rashmi. I know you poured your heart out, and this is how it should be. So beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would share this? Again, this is a no judgment zone. Please come in and share. Could be anything, right? Could be those situations where we went beyond the fear and we trusted the process. Go ahead, Agrima. You can see. You should be able to unmute.
I think after the story and hearing Rashmi, I think it gave some more perspective. So fear, I fear and trust. I feel I've always been quite fearful in expressing myself. So I think I've never been very vulnerable. I've always been very guarded. Um, I had to go to boarding school. Uh, so I don't mean to say I had to go. I like to go. My parents put me there. It was good, but I think maybe when I look back now that so I've always been, like I said, I've always been fearful of communicating. I don't know how the other person is going to react or respond. So I've always been very guarded. So never vulnerable, never trying to show exactly how I feel. But I think that has really changed for me with meditation and with just reading and listening to all the good spiritual knowledge. Now I'm so much less fearful. Like somebody, like right now, I'm a little nervous while talking, but in general, like when I teach this Vedic class to kids on Sundays, and one day I was just put on the spot, like, okay, why don't you take the class today? And it was very it was like I just went all in. I was not, generally I shake, I'm breathing heavy when I'm put on the spot, I'm fearful, like I don't know how to respond. Although I've been on stage, I've performed and everything, but I know every time I was on stage, my mouth was dry, I was shaking. I don't know how I ever went through a whole performance. But that day was like, I just went all in and I never thought about the fear. And it was really amazing. It was kind of liberating and felt like I can do this. Wow. And I got so many compliments, and I was like, the first time ever, I was like, I never thought of the fear. I just went all in, and and everybody helped. It was not like I was the only one talking, everybody chimed in. So I think that's a good, I just realized that. And now I'm less guarded in if I want to express something, or if I just want to say no to something. Sorry, I just can't do this. I'm much more like, I don't feel bad about it. Like I have to say something. Maybe I don't know how the other person will respond. So meditation and learning so much and having this platform to even speak, this is very rare for me, but I feel so, I feel welcome and warm. And like you said, like a happy place. I just feel good. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Agrima, for sharing that. And there's always this negative connotation about vulnerability and all of that, right? But it's actually a space of growing. Because anytime, if you observe, if you see, there is always a growth which has happened. Something has changed in us, something has grown in us after we choose to be vulnerable. After with that knowing, if we just walk forward, it's a place of growth, right? Once we go back, I mean, once we look back, we don't even recognize it. But moving forward, if we decide to move forward, it's liberating. It's beautiful, exactly as you mentioned in your experience. Sometimes we just willfully do it. Sometimes we are put on spot. Even that being put on spot is also decided by our higher self. Decides, that's it. Be there. In that dark zone, let the spotlight be on you. Let the spotlight be on you. See how you respond. And that is a very liberating growth area, right? You go to the next level with that. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Who else would like to share? There you go, Simi. Go ahead.
So I don't know. I want to start with something funny because life is also about some fun moments, right? So when I first came to this country, obviously I just got married, never worked. So my first job was in a bank. And I worked in the platform side of things where I used to, open bank accounts and all those things. And it was just, I just started. So we had to go to this blue collar factory to try and get some accounts. And here I am with my Indian accent. And here I'm in that space. And I'm not expecting to speak because my manager is supposed to speak. And I have two tellers with me, myself, and then the manager was supposed to come, and she didn't come the last minute. And here we are waiting, and I'm like, everybody is looking at me, and I'm like, okay, I am not speaking, guys. It's lunch hour. All men sitting and eating, blue collar workers. Then the other two are like, they're not speaking. They're like, Caucasian women, and they didn't want to speak. Then I'm like, okay, I guess I'm speaking. I spoke, and I'm like, oh my God, they're probably gonna, be like mock me or whatever. But it took me just that 1 second to come out of that fear and like speak in front of those our entire room full of Caucasian men, blue collar workers, and I started speaking. And at the end of the day, I actually got some accounts out of it. I just wanted to start with that because sometimes that's when Shivu said that spotlight thing, I felt I had to share this because I truly was pushed into the spotlight, and people were like, the other two tellers literally looked down and said, no, I'm not speaking. We're standing in the middle of the room and nobody spoke. So I had to speak. But anyways, that I just remembered that when you said that. But my real thing I really wanted to share was when as a young mother, I came from India, and my friends were all in different places. My husband's friends and their wives were my friends, right? So again, like I remember what you said, you kind of put a different face because I was not the same person. I was very outspoken, as my brother would say. What if I feel something, I will say it. But when I came here to America, I kind of put a different face because I was like, okay, they're not my people really, because they're my friends. Don't get me wrong, they're my friends, but they're not really my people. But at that time, so I kind of started doing little different things, like not really me. I would try to blend into those things. And I was brought up a different way. I was brought up to be like, again, I'm not saying I was perfect because I had a lot of things, because I was always with my group of friends and we never kind of considered folks outside of our group. But this particular one, what really happened was, again, kind of the same situation that Rishmi mentioned, where the people I thought were my friends were like very judgmental to me. Not that I'm not judgmental, but especially it struck a nerve in me because they judged me about my being a good mother. I mean, that's anything else is fine, right? We can take it. But when somebody speaks about, oh, are you doing the right thing because you're working? Are you giving the care to your child because you're working? And folks say that, that strikes a huge nerve. Then you start to question yourself. I was questioning myself, wait, although like my entire life at that time was about my daughter, when people said that to me, who I thought were my friends, that I was taken aback. I'm like, wait, did I not take care of my child? Am I not doing enough? And I started doubting my self-worth, and I'm like questioning everything. I think at that time I didn't have meditation. I didn't have anything. So I was just like at the loss, and I started crying, came back home, and I was like pouring my heart out. My husband helped me through it. He was an anchor for me at that time, and he said, in many times, like again, like Rashmi said, I had people when they would talk some things behind my back and I would hear from somebody else. So it all was hurtful because I'm not used to any of these things, because my friends were my friends. If they had to say something, they would say it to my face, I would say right back, and we were done. But this is not what I was used to. And I was obviously mature, and I don't think I did the right things either. I will admit it. But I didn't know what was going on. But again, I'm very thankful for my husband because I didn't have meditation. He was my anchor. He told me, ask yourself. Because sometimes I would go to a party or something and people would be like, not look at me, not people, I would say person. And then I'm like, what happened? What did I do wrong? Did I do anything? Because I couldn't even think of what I did, right? And then so it used to be such a thing for me. Like I don't even want to go to these anymore. I mean, again, this is many, many years ago, friends. And I was young too. And then my husband would say, okay, this has to stop. Number two things, you have two choices. Either stop going to a party because this is what you're coming back with. It is hurting yourself. Or the second most important thing to do is ask yourself, did you do anything to that person? Did you make a mistake? Did you do anything knowingly? And if that answer is no, then forget what they're doing because you didn't do anything. If they come and tell you something, then we can react or respond. But right now, there's no point in getting yourself worked up. At that point, in my immature mind, that worked for me, guys. That was a huge thing. It worked. Whatever works, right? So I didn't have meditation. I didn't have spirituality. I mean, of course, I prayed to God, but I was fearing God. I don't know if I loved God at that time. I feared God. I'm like God fearing. Like that's what we are taught in my Christian school. We learned in moral science, God fearing. But I don't think I'm God fearing anymore. I'm God loving. I am still very spiritual. So recently, something similar happened where the same person who had hurt me said something to me. And friends, I don't know what it was. Not again, I've just started my journey. I'm like not unlike not like many of you. I'm like still a long way to go, but my meditation gave me the strength to respond and not react. And I said to her or the person, and at that time I had a lot of resentment towards this person. But now I can very clearly say I have no resentment. I just cleared my peace and I said, this is what happened. I know it's hard for you to believe me or trust me, but truly from the heart, I'm saying this is it. If you can trust, please trust. If not, this is it. This is it. I mean, I didn't have any resentment. I didn't have any anger. I just had, I had peace. And usually I would be calling my friends and be like, my God, listen, guys, this is what they did. This time I'm very happy to say, guys, I did not call anyone. I kept it to myself. I'm just saying this because this is me, like, right? Like this is how I used to be. I would be immediately calling, guess what this person is doing again? Because this is a common friend who does that to everybody. So I'm like, I could have done that, but I decided, no, Simi, you're not that person anymore. This is between you and her. What she said was to you. You responded. Now let's not react. Let's be done with it. So I don't want to say I'm proud of myself, but I think it was a moment of growth for me. And I think it was my meditation journey that helped me get there. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of say that, guys. I don't know, a few things that came to my mind, but thank you for the opportunity for me to share.
Yeah, thank you so much, Simi. You covered many, many things, not just today's, but even the previous weeks as well. The anger came up, and you remember that revenge part of it, right? The revenge, the talking, and all that from the last week, where you actually broke the chain. You decided, right? You actually moved from fear to trust. Everything, a lot of things was covered in your example, and the way you actually came out of those patterns, right? Because it's a pattern. Everything which we think, we build something in our mind. It's all in the mind, right? As Ravana was experiencing and Sita Mata was initially experiencing as well. These are all built in the mind. This might not actually be the true things. But once we are at the anchor, once we have that, initially you had the anchor with your husband, and then it became, the meditation. With the meditation, you come back to your real self. You know what it is. You know what is true and what is not. And what is not will anyway fall, because what is not needs some sort of a power to stay there because it is not true. So we just stop feeding the power, feeding the energy, and just falls. So beautiful, beautiful energy, beautiful, beautiful talk and beautiful examples. Thank you so much. Who else would like to share? Again, Francis. Oh, go ahead, Pramod.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm just facing my fear. So I'm not a expressing person. So I always feel like I don't have anything to share, actually, honestly, right? So what to share? That is one thing. So with this story, like it's always about fear and trusting ourselves, and fear, facing those fears. If we don't face it, then for me, it is always buried somewhere unconsciously and consciously as well. Um, but with meditation, which I'm practicing for almost a year, at least some of the, not the deep-rooted one, but at least some fears are going away as I start staring and challenging, right? Many of them just dissolve on its own. Um, so um, again, I don't have much to share. I just want to talk right now just to get away from my fear of, having that first, icebreaker type of thing. So, uh, but that's what I want to say right now. Not much to share, but that's where, again, I don't know what to share, honestly, right? There are so many fears, there are so many things going on in life, which I feel, okay, is it really important to share with others? Which are my problems, right? I need to deal with those. How sharing will help mitigate some of those things. So those are the thoughts going on in my mind. But this is what I want to say. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, amazing, amazing. Yeah, it is not about saying something, right? It's the fact that you opened up, you are speaking, amazing. And I know you're very, very regular with meditation as well, the daily meditation, just like Agrima and many other people here, Rashmi and others as well. It's very regularly you're attending meditation and doing meditation. I know you're a very sincere seeker. So really, really appreciate this. Remember that back in India there was an ad, right? I think it was a thumbs up ad. Dar ke aage jeet hai.
Yes.
Back in the day. I don't know if it's
Yes.
there anymore. It was what I thought was something which has always stayed with me. It was like beautiful, right? That is true. Because the moment you decide to step on, because the doubt is only in the mind, right? You can only feel it in the mind, it only exists there. The moment you move forward, it's you just move forward. There's no looking back. Those things just fall.
Yep. Exactly.
Just to make it a matter of just
But
taking steps.
thanks to all the speaker for sharing and yeah,
Thanks
great.
to you. Thanks to you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Right. Who else would like to share? Is there anybody else who would like to share? Friends, this is a very welcoming open space. As you can see, it's very simple, right? There's nothing, it's not a session or anything, it's just very simple space. So if you would like to unmute and share, please go ahead. If not, we'll just get into the meditation. So James, I don't think there is anybody else who would like to share. So let's get into our beautiful meditation, listening to your beautiful voice.
Thank you, Shibu. Thank you, everyone. Okay, well, it's time to do our meditation. So, everyone, please take your comfortable meditation posture. I like to sit with my back straight, my legs crossed. I take my hands and fold them together and rest them on my lap. And once you're comfortable, you may close your eyes. And let's start by taking in a deep breath and hold and exhale. Another deep breath in and hold. And exhale. Now just let your breathing occur naturally. Normal breathing. We're not controlling the breath anymore. We become the observer. Observe the breath as it naturally goes in, stays for a while, and goes out. Let your thoughts settle. Be the observer. Thoughts will come, thoughts will go. No need to dwell on thought. Just observe your breath. In today's story, we heard about Ravana and Sita. Who is Ravana? He is the one who identified as the ego thought. The story shows us that we have a choice to make. Who am I? Is the choice that we make. Am I the ego thought, or am I something much more than that? Am I limited, or am I unlimited? Am I judgmental, or do I accept all that is? Am I angry? Am I jealous? Do I exhibit hatred? Or do I choose joy and peace and love? Who do I choose to be? Do I choose to be an illusion, or do I choose to be my real self? Do I choose illusion, or do I choose truth? It's always the choice that we make in every moment. We can choose joy and peace and love at any time. We can choose to suffer by choosing illusion, by choosing smallness and anger and jealousy and hatred. We make our world by our choice, and it's always the same choice. Can defeat Ravana by choosing our real self, by identifying with love. Love comes from the divine, and it lives in our hearts. It comes from the real self. When we choose love, we're automatically at peace. We automatically have joy. We automatically know that the other is the same as our real self, and that we all are one. Dear friends, another 2 minutes of meditation. Let us remember from where we come. Let us remember our true nature, our true self. Let us know that God creates by extending what God is, and therefore the divine is in everything. Nothing exists without the divine. And you, my friends, you are that divine. You are that God. That's your higher self. That's who you really are. And that's the choice that we make to remember who we are. We choose truth, not delusion. The ego thought offers us an illusion of who we are, and it obscures reality from our vision, which is why we don't want it. We remember our true nature as God itself, which is love and peace and joy. And that's what we experience when we choose truth. Another 30 seconds, friends. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whenever you're ready, slowly rub your palms together, place them over your eyes, and slowly open your eyes while looking into your palms.
Thank you so much, James. Beautiful, beautiful. Amazing energies and stillness. Thank you. Hope everybody is back. And now we get into the final topic, which is activities for the week. So there are a few which we always do, right? The daily meditation. Whenever we get a chance, we always go to the nature. If there is a trail, if there is no trail nearby, we be with a plant or a tree. So any of that we always continue. We always talk about the night journaling as well. Journaling, again, we continue that. So if you observe, every week we had a certain theme to that new activity, right? First week was about sitting by a tree or being with the tree, connecting to the earth element. There was an element as well every week. Second week was about the water. Third week, fire. We were soaking in the sun energies, gratitude to the sun. All of these can continue. This week, it's the air, it's the breath. It's a beautiful, beautiful week where, as you remember in the story, Sitama used meditation. How do you get into the meditative state? We use breath as the anchor. James talked about this, right? Being with our true self. To be for that gateway to get there. The breath is a very, very simple and easy process, right? Because that's something which is always there with us. So this week, our practice is very simple. This week, we recognize our breath. We form a friendship with the breath. Forming a friendship with our natural breath is the simple practice for this week. That is very, very simple, but yet, friends, it is profound if you commit to it. When you get up morning, be aware of the breath. Just be aware of the breath. Don't, nothing else. Just be aware of the natural breath. And throughout the day, be aware of the breath. Whenever you're about to do something, when you're getting into a meeting, or when you're starting the driving, when you're starting to drive your car, for a few seconds, be aware of the breath. Be with the breath. If you can, maintain some awareness of the breath. What do we mean by awareness of the breath? It is the sensations on the body caused by the breath. So it could be the nostrils, chest, tummy. In that natural state, right, whatever we do, if our body is relaxed, and we'll know if it is relaxed. When you're aware of your breath, you'll know how the body is relaxed. Is the body natural? Is the body at ease? This will teach us a lot of things. Breath will teach us a lot of things. Just form this lifelong relationship with the breath, because the mind and the breath are the same. There's so many things we don't have to talk about breath. You will know it. So many things we will learn just by being with the breath. That's the practice, friends. This week, form a best friendship with the breath. You may continue to do the other practices which we had previous weeks, right? You may continue to do that. But please start this new practice throughout the day. Throughout the day. Could be for a few seconds, but you would notice that more and more you would retain that awareness to the body. The more you're with the breath throughout the day, you're aware of your body, which means you're more present, which means you are in touch with the truth, which means the way you speak, the way you are, the decisions which you make, and as James mentioned, the choices would become apparent because most of the time we don't even know that we have a choice. We are an autopilot. But being with the breath, being with our true self, we will start seeing the choices. You can choose, you can really choose. So those things would become very apparent, but these are all theory. For now, the simple practice is being with our natural breath. Natural breath. Form that friendship. Because remember what life is. It starts with the breath, ends with the breath. The life as we call it with the body. Life within the body is just about few breaths we have. So let's form this relationship, conscious relationship, please. And this is a very, very important aspect of it, which appears very simple, but it's the most profound thing. The friendship with breath, the real friendship with breath, and breath will reward. And if you do it every week, every day, by in a few days, you can see, you can observe yourself. Actually, we should do a baseline, starting of the day, end of the day, end of the week. If you do a baseline and if you observe yourself, you'll see the quality of the relationships, the quality of everything around you would have improved because now there is more light. When we are with the breath, what it means is there is more light. There's more light in everything. There is the quality will improve. That's all, friends. So let's continue to do this. This is the practice for this week, in addition to other things. Let's always meditate. Not having time for meditation is not an excuse, it's a mind thing. We always have time for things which we want to do. It's all a priority. So let's prioritize meditation. Let's prioritize being with ourselves. Being with breath means what it means is just being with ourselves. So let's do all of this. And we'll see you tomorrow for our daily meditation every day. So again, thanks to all our volunteers who are lovingly doing this on a daily basis. I mean, they would have so many other things during the day and they have other things, right? But they are prioritizing coming in, volunteering, and offering this meditation on a daily basis. So thanks and gratitude to all our volunteers. And thanks to all of you. Thank you all.